Welcome to Glazed Over, a podcast for contemporary ceramic studios. We're your host, Jessica Cowan.
And Amy Williams. You're invited to join us in creative conversation about life in the arts as entertainment space.
Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Glazed Over. I'm one of your co-hosts, Amy Williams, and today on the podcast we have Wendy Pettis from the Pottery Patch. We are talking to Wendy about reels. She is such an amazing resource for this industry. She's always doing something interesting in her studio, and I know that because she posts about it on social media. This episode is really good. We talked to Wendy about her ideas, organizing all of her clips, and kind of bringing these really cool videos to life, and that it doesn't have to be as scary or intimidating or take as much time as you think it does. So enjoy this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.
Hey everyone, Des Toll here from Biscuit Imports. You know how much we love our customers, and supporting the CCSA podcast is just one more way we can show up for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. We're glad you're here.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Are you ready to stay ahead of the curve in the fine arts industry? Look no further than CCSA Today, our quarterly magazine packed with business insights, industry trends, and operational tips tailored specifically for fine art studio owners like you. Whether you prefer the printed or digital version, each issue of CCSA Today is full of valuable content to help you run a more efficient, profitable, and creative studio. You'll find everything from the latest business strategies to inspiring seasonal designs that keep your customers coming back for more. Don't miss out on this must-have resource. Become a member of the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association and get CCSA Today delivered right to your mailbox or inbox. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.
We've got you on today to talk about reels, which is, a passion of mine. Unfortunately, I think in 2025, when you are marketing on the internet, or marketing at all, you have to kind of be
it's
reels.
a way of life.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. So I'm so curious, about all of it. Do you do them all? Did you train your staff to do them all? Where do you want to begin?
Well, I do them myself, but I would like to train my staff. However, when I try that, and my staff are sometimes good, they're just not good all the time. So by the time I spent editing, changing, trying to get another quick shot to add into something, and I'm wasting my time because it's not the perspective that I want. They don't have the perspective that I have as a studio owner. So yes, they see the fun in it, but they kind of see the fun in it instead of seeing what the goal was to try to accomplish with a reel.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Can you explain to our listeners who are not as savvy with it, what exactly a reel is?
So a reel is just like to me, I try to tell my employees, it's real time. It's like what happens, real life, funny, short, maybe obviously with a purpose, trying to teach somebody something, or like a blooper, or it could be anything. It could but it's real time. So it's funny that they name it reels, because to me it's like real time, like this actually happened. So,
yeah, I think that's perfectly put. And this is something that used to just exist on Instagram, but obviously with Instagram and Facebook being owned by Meta, now you're seeing reels a lot on Facebook. Do you consider, this is like a heavy hitter question to ask almost first thing, but do you consider your audience when you are making these reels? Do you think about, oh, this will be great on Facebook, or are you just thinking about Instagram?
I only used to think about Instagram. But now that I've kind of I share, it automatically shares over into Facebook. I get a lot of more views, I feel like sometimes, and I feel like it's a completely different audience. Even though the subject might be funny or punny or whatever you want to call it, or it might actually be a technique, that audience is completely different. Facebookers are not Instagrammers. So, not all the time. We do it because we're used to, we're trying to manage both sides of our marketing part. So, I'm a little bit different versus just my average customer walking in. So, there's a whole group of moms or grandmas or whatever that are out there scrolling. They're like, oh, look at this little thing here. Look at this little shop down the street, whatever. And so that's a completely different, person than the 20 something, 30 something, 3 o'clock in the morning Instagrammer I think of,
Absolutely. I think about like Facebook is where my aunt is and Instagram is
Right,
where
right,
my
right.
cousins are. And
Right.
so,
That's a
you
true
wouldn't talk to
story.
your aunt like you talk to your cousin. So
Right.
you have to kind
But
of think about
sometimes
it that
they
way.
think it's funny. So
Yeah.
I mean, I do get a similar, sometimes I get a better rise out of them on Facebook than I do on Instagram because, it's with Instagram, it's hit or miss. They might love you
Hmm.
for 5 days and they hate you for 50. So, and it's not the people necessarily, it's just how it falls in with the rhythm of Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you are, let's say I want to talk through your process basically is where I want to begin here. Because we've defined what reels are. We've talked about, what they are. You've done a great job of explaining. So let's say it's time to record some content. Do you think about it that way? Do you think like, oh, I need to make a reel today, or are you capturing it as it happens?
I'm a planner. So for me to get to an idea for a reel, I've already researched what's things are already on Instagram or similar situations.
Hmm.
So because I mean, I don't have time to, I shouldn't say I don't have time. I don't have the intuitive part of me to like say, oh, that's really cute. I mean, I might do it. And I could get a couple things from a camp or something like that is in the moment. But most of mine are like I plan ahead and I come with a list of things I want to do and I'll save that or that reel and the one that inspired me or whatever. And I have a couple tricks that I do for saving things to remind myself because I'm of the age where I forget a lot of things. And if I don't write it down or if I don't see it, then I don't have any way to remind myself. And I
Hmm.
have a couple tips on how I do that too. So
Mm.
Good.
Well, how
We
might
definitely
work
want
for
to hear
somebody else.
those.
we do, yeah.
Okay,
I want to
so this is
hear,
what I do for
yeah.
to remind myself, like when I find inspiration. So I'll save it or download it if I can, but then it just becomes a video stuck on my phone or something like that. So I recreate using that audio, and I might just stick a blank video, just a random video. I might stick the one I downloaded for the inspo in there, and then I go back in the caption and I type in what I want to do with this
Mm.
and goes in my drafts. And
Mm.
then I can pull back up my draft and say, oh, this is what I wanted to do with it. Because I mean, stop and think, how many reels do you see? And then they all start running together, like the
Yeah.
idea. So, just because I'm like, oh, I might do this, this would be a great thing for Christmas. I'm not going to do it now, but I've labeled it for Christmas. I'm going to come back in October and reiterate that, change up the music, probably,
Hmm.
whatever's trending, that kind of
Mm.
stuff. So that's how I keep myself organized in terms of when I see the inspiration. So,
Yeah,
That's a
I
really
love
good
that.
tip.
I do want
Yeah.
to, so I'm trying to think about the audience that is not totally sure what you're talking about. So I will just for a
Hmm.
second define what you said a little bit deeper. So
mhm.
when Wendy's talking about the audio, when you are looking at a reel, it'll tell you the song or the sound that's playing. You can click on that sound like a link and it will take you to a page that features every single reel that has used that audio. And from there, you can, click use audio and do what Wendy's saying of,
Yeah.
type in
So,
the caption of her idea and then saving it to drafts. If you are the type of person that deletes Instagram every now and again or is getting a new phone or something, make sure that you're downloading your drafts because once you delete the app from your phone, you will lose all of that. And
oh,
that would
that's
be
good to
very
know. Yes,
sad.
that would be very
Hmm.
sad because I do have quite a bit of drafts down there, but I
Yeah.
do have them, and then I also create a note for myself, and so I will in my notes I will say in October, find the X blah 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 video or whatever that I've saved in my draft, so I know, so I kind of do organize myself, um, in that messed up manner in my head, like that's what it takes to
Yeah.
organize myself.
If it works, it's not crazy.
Right. It works for me.
Right. And when you say that you're researching, please tell me what that means.
That means scrolling and scrolling and scrolling.
Thank you. I tell
Yes.
people all the time, you cannot know what you're doing if you're not using the app. You don't know how to use
Yeah.
the app if you don't use the app. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, at least,
And
10
what's
minutes a
funny
day.
though? Like I don't follow on my personal page, I don't necessarily follow other pottery studio owners. I'm following, I don't know, some bloggers, some influencers, some other small businesses, not anything to do with pottery, but just a small business type of, what they're doing. Realtors have some really funny
They
things.
do.
So, and then sometimes I just go to the search or whatever what is that called?
The Explore page.
Explore,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So I just go and explore and just jump in some of those and that will generate more things for the next time I come back. So,
Yeah, my biggest advice for people is like take 10 minutes a day and just scroll that Explore tab and save videos, but also like make a note somewhere, write it down, put it in your notes app, do Wendy's method, and say why you like the video or why
yes.
it's resonating for you. Because then I think that really helps us start to see these little moments, like you're saying, these real life moments, to then determine like how to make something that's going to capture your audience's attention.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Writing my description down and the caption saves me so much because once you've seen 10 or you've seen 100, then you completely forget what was I wanted to do with that. I mean, that's really cute, but now I've lost my train of thought on it.
Well, can you give us an example of what that description says? Like how much
It might
information?
say, take a shot from coming from the kiln room to putting it on the table, or it might be line the bottles of paint up all shades of green and say, my doctor told me to go more green. Something like that. You know what I mean? So but they used, I don't know, green teas or something. I don't know. But whatever my inspiration was, I put that detailed description in there of what I want to do with it.
That's so smart. And I think it makes it so much more approachable than just like, oh, create something from scratch. It's the same as us having samples on the shelf of like to inspire people to how to paint a shape. You're doing the thing.
Yeah. So
do you
use these reels in other places? Are you dividing them up for your stories? Do they go to TikTok or YouTube?
I don't do TikTok. TikTok's not my thing, and I'm just at that age group that TikTok is not my thing. But it is what it is. So, and then I kept thinking TikTok's going to go away. So why am I spending my time and energy on there? Sometimes I will share things over there, and I have shared things over there. I don't have if I dedicate more time, I'd probably have a better following. So, but I have a decent following on Instagram and Facebook. So I can't remember what the question was.
If you repurpose the content for stories,
yeah,
or if you maybe do
I do
series.
repurpose things, yes. And I might take a 3-second clip out of a 15-second video and just focus on that one thing and just repurpose it. So I do have a Instagram marketing person that helps me with some of my posts and stuff like that. Not so much the reels, but she does help me with the posts and stuff like that and scheduling things. So I know she'll go in there if I'm running low on things, she'll go in there and pop in a few of those or repurpose my content with just new captions on it.
Yeah, totally. Everyone should be doing that for sure.
Yeah, take your highest rated, highest viewed reels or whatever, and even if you pulled apart some of it, just to repurpose that way, it's a great tool to. Why recreate everything? You don't have to.
I know we're so tired. We don't have to do that.
We don't have time to do that. Even just taking a great photo and just using a CapCut or something like that to make it zoom in, zoom out. Oh my gosh, you got a reel on a video, on a picture, and just put something with it. So,
are you ever showing face to camera in these reels, or is it mostly just your studio?
It's mostly just my studio or my employees. I'm not a in your face kind of person, so yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I know you get that. But I mean, you've got such a pretty face, so. But I'm just not that. I'm just not that. That's not me. So I'm camera shy.
And I think that's a testament to you don't have to be. You're if you're not in the studio all the time, which I'm not saying you aren't, but if you are more behind the scenes working on the business, not in the business, your customers are going to see your staff anyway. So why don't you let them do it?
That's who they resonate with. So for sure.
Yeah. Do you find it's easy to get your staff involved with that? Are they excited about the creation process?
They do love to be in it, and they're like, "Oh, Wendy asked me to do this or whatever," So they do like that stuff.
Ready for my close up?
Yes. I'm like, they're all got the lip. I'm like, lip gloss girl, And so anyway, they do enjoy that kind of stuff. But I have to give them directive to me because I'm such a control freak. I feel like I have to give directive. Just because I want it at a certain angle, and they just don't have all the vision that I have for the potential of what it could be. So
yeah, How much time would you say you're spending a week on making reels?
When I'm heavy into it, I'm spending a good hour and a half just maybe getting content of different things, and the 50 takes that it takes or whatever. Probably spend way too much time on editing because I'm like, oh,
Hmm.
that didn't drop right there,
Yeah.
But I mean, but that's me. I'm the
Well, it
perfectionist kind of thing.
matters, you know?
Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
I mean, when that beat drops, you got to drop it.
Right. You ain't wrong. Now, is this all living on your phone? Is there a separate studio phone, a
We
camera?
do use it on our iPad. We'll do like videos at birthday parties and stuff, and they'll just kind of get snapshots and videos and stuff and leave it on there. And then but it's mostly comes from me. I'm the
Okay.
manager of the part of the Instagram, so I would
Mhm.
never at this point allow them to post on my behalf.
Yeah. But it's good to have them involved in getting the content.
Yeah,
And I think
I
that can
do.
be such a difficult part, you know?
Sometimes it's just reminding them. They're like, oh yeah, I should have got that. I'm like, yeah, that was, 500 boxes stacked up like a pyramid
Right.
and someone's hiding in the middle. That would have been great. And they're like, as
Yeah.
I see you on the camera, studio security camera playing in the boxes, you should have took a
Uh,
video of it.
I know. I think when staff's like, I don't have any time, and I hate that I'm like this, but I'm like, how many text messages did you send to your
Mm,
boyfriend? I'm like,
mm,
you had time to get a 12-second
mm,
clip max.
mm.
Um, yeah,
Agreed.
I know that's not nice, but it's true.
I know. It's a true story.
No,
Do
it's
you
Yeah.
good.
have any equipment that you use when you're, filming or editing or anything like
I
that?
do have a tripod. I'm not, sometimes
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I don't want to dig it out or whatever. But, the tripod is good. I mean, obviously, I think lighting would be even more beneficial, but there's sometimes
Hmm.
that you're just in the moment or you're trying to get something through, and that kind of comes second nature. And now the editing is so, there's so much editing on your phone and through CapCut or whatever that I can kind of fix things that might be a little dark or
Yeah.
not perfect.
Yeah,
So
and
Hmm.
sometimes when something's overproduced, it
looks
doesn't feel right,
right. It looks overproduced, right?
Yeah, and I think the joy of social media is that it is, I just keep coming back to you saying real life and off the cuff, and you don't want to sell people something overproduced. You want to sell them what you do. So I'm also not pulling out my tripod very often. I will say Kathy Cana Maria, oh Crafty Chica, she travels with a little like phone holder, and it's
Oh,
it's
uh-huh.
just a desk iPhone holder, and that's where
Hmm.
she will film most of her
Isn't
content
it
at
crazy?
conventions and even at
Right.
her house. And I have started to do that when I'm just not feeling like I want to get the whole thing out. I'll
Right.
balance it on top of like
Right.
my water bottle. And I'm like,
Isn't
great,
it
there's my
funny?
tripod.
I do that too.
Tripod.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Same.
And are you editing in CapCut?
I do use CapCut quite a bit. So, I
I
do
love
try to
CapCut.
keep everything in Instagram though, because I feel like Instagram likes Instagram best.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But they do, and even I've edited some in Canva. Canva's not my favorite. So, I
Yeah.
will, but I do, my second choice would be CapCut.
Yeah. I will
Hmm.
say Instagram's editing app to rival CapCut is called Edits. And
Yes, I just
it's
got that.
pretty
Yeah.
good. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying it. I've never
Yeah.
used CapCut. I've used other
Oh.
stuff.
Mhm.
And now there is some, I don't know if you've seen the updates where like CapCut will now like own all of your stuff.
Yes, I did
Oh,
So
see that. So I'm like, okay, well,
yeah,
then there we
yeah.
go.
Something to
Okay.
think about. Some people don't care,
I,
some people do, but
yeah, I do.
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
So the
same.
edits app is nice.
Yeah, that's good. So, Wendy, when we're talking about successful reels, what is your most popular one, or content that you're making that people are engaging with?
It's kind of sometimes it's just product. Sometimes it's just dogs lined up or ghosts lined up or something like that. And then sometimes it's just people, a funny skit
Hmm.
of something or whatever. So I don't know that there's one more over than the other because I think it's just a mix and it's whoever's picking, scrolling at that time. So I
So
don't think
something is better than nothing. That's
Oh,
a
absolutely, for
good
sure.
takeaway
Right.
here, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Something
Yeah.
is better than nothing. And I just don't, I mean, I think people are great. I think product is great. I think showing, painting, doing something along the way is great, being interactive. Um, Anything to do with
Mhm.
coffee. Oh my gosh. a coffee, so I always try how to get this coffee mug in with a coffee and, anything like that. Just things like that. It's like whatever is kind of like subject wise, even what is trending, what I see, if it's pumpkin spice season or if it's football or, things like that. Obviously, that's kind of what is populating on your Explore. So, that was, I kind of follow those trends too of like what's seasonal, what things are going on that way as far as subjects. And it could be people or stuff.
Have you ever gotten any like pushback or like have you had a reel go viral and people just be like, ugh, negative comments or anything like
No,
that?
I've never had any negative.
That's
So
good.
they might have thought it.
Good.
They didn't say it.
They're not
Yeah,
That's
right.
good.
Kept it to themselves. All
That's
right.
right. Not that
I
I know
find something that's been popular on my reels scrolling lately is like if the person who is making the content does not show the finished version. So if you don't show the finished
Mm-hmm.
meal or the fired mug or, the craft product done, people get so mad. So I think also paying
of.
attention to comments is really
Yeah,
good too
that's
to
true.
know
Yeah,
what
you're right.
people want to see.
I have recently experienced that. I'm like, and it was another pottery studio or ceramic I don't know what exactly it was, but I'm like, you had the perfect opportunity. You had me hooked from the beginning to the when it went in the kiln, and you didn't show me the end. And
Oh my
sometimes
goodness.
I'm guilty of that because I get so excited about what I just did. I'm like, I gotta show it right now. And then I'm like, no, no, wait, just wait until we get to that part.
Yeah.
So, but you're right. I have been hooked into that. And I'm like, but of course I would never say you missed the
Right.
boat, but
Yeah, yeah,
don't miss
because
the
you're a
boat.
good person. Yeah, it's like telling a story, right? You
Yeah,
wouldn't like
yeah.
you
That's the part
wouldn't
we
throw
waited
the book
for.
away
Yes.
before you read the
Yeah.
last chapter, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's very true.
That's for sure. And how often are you posting your reels, Wendy?
So last summer, I made it a goal last summer that I was going to really invest myself into this. And so last
Mhm.
summer, I did great. And I was posting probably 3 to 5 times a week. And I really felt like, not posts, but like reels, like I was
Mhm.
on a roll. And then Christmas came, and then January came. So I have
It's
not
tough.
been good. Right. I have not been good. So I'm really mad at myself for that because I was on such a roll. Like, I mean, consistently
Mhm.
getting, great views and stuff like that. So maybe I'll try to, put it back in there to continue on for the next 6 months so I can build that momentum back up again.
Yeah, I mean, because that's really it, right? It's like building the momentum and being consistent. Sometimes being consistent is more important than having like a groundbreaking,
Yeah.
viral
Right.
reel.
Right.
Right. Inventing
Yeah.
a new trend. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's great that you invested yourself in that.
Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
honestly. I mean, if it was something went viral, I would be like, I would go tell my husband or my family, I just went viral, and they'd be like, oh, okay,
Like,
it
great.
doesn't, whatever. But to me, it's just consistency and building that community right there of those consistent followers. Because when I was doing that, my engagement was high, my followers increased
Mhm.
like so much. And then I really, I've maintained them. They're still on there as followers. I really haven't lost anything, but I haven't gained any more. So
Yeah.
trying to build that community is really important.
Are you spending hours managing studio bookings and class registrations? Occasion helps ceramic studios save an average of 3 days a week in admin time. With clever workflows, instant confirmations, and seamless class management, you can focus on what matters, creating amazing experiences for your customers. Join successful studios like Clay Cafe Avalon, who've trusted Occasion since 2016. Visit occasion.app and schedule a demo today. Mention Glazed Over Podcast for personalized setup support.
Hey, podcast pros, give yourself a high five for tuning in and leveling up your business game. Seriously, we see you. Here at Biscuit Imports, we're all about helping studios like yours thrive. From our ever-growing lineup of awesome bit shapes to a huge library of resources, videos, and tools, we're here to make your job easier and keep those customers coming back for more. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned studio superstar, we've got your back. Let's keep the creativity flowing, the kilns burning, and the good vibes rolling. Check us out anytime at biscuitimports.com. We're here to help you grow, shine, and succeed.
Let's kind of get into I don't know, I could be speaking for everybody, but I do think the editing process can be really intimidating for some because you've filmed this content and you're like, okay, well, how do I puzzle piece it together. I'd like to know what you think about when you're thinking about the music, when you're thinking about like, do you always add text on the screen? Are there often a lot of like transitions or special effects? Do you know, is that stuff that you can?
I'm not a special effects or transition girl. Like I don't like it's, that it may be in a process or whatever, but there's no spinny video to the next clip, things like that. That's just not me. For me, my most determining factor is always the trending audio. Like I start with the audio and I search for audio. And then I think, oh, what would be cute to go with that, blah, 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 or whatever, with that beat, with that, with that little clip of whatever is in there. And that's kind of how I'm like, oh, we could do this and da 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 da, and then that will fit into that audio. So, that is always, I like the audio because that's really what's moving Instagram, progressing you through there
Yeah,
is,
it's an important piece of the puzzle
yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure.
It is. And I also hate to tell everyone that most people are listening with their sound off. So
Yes,
I have a social media client who agonizes over the song choice. And I have to just say, I'm going to hold your hand when I tell you this. They're not even listening, so I want you to
it's
use a
true,
trending
right? When I'm
sound.
in the doctor's office or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah. And I do
Exactly.
try to do the clips at the bottom, the
Yep.
whatever,
Yep.
some type of text overlay of
Yes.
something. So,
Yeah, and I think you have to consider, of course, I think it is getting a little more TikTok-y. You would never listen or watch TikTok without the sound on, but for
right.
some reason with Instagram, we're still in that space where sound's off, like you said, we're at the doctor's office or we're scrolling sometimes while we're supposed to be watching TV.
You're right.
So I
Or
am
somebody's asleep beside you.
basically,
Yeah.
I am a stickler about text on the screen. I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of that because it helps your engagement, but
Yeah.
also
Right. Right.
like
Right.
we have customers that are hearing impaired, or we have people that, need to have the closed captions happening. It just makes it a little more accessible for everybody. So
I have one pet peeve on text though.
tell me.
Okay, so you people that are got great eyes and you're young and healthy eyeballs, do not put
We
the
both have
little teeny
glasses.
tiny things on a white background and make the color beige.
Wendy, I'm
Oh,
right
Oh,
there
I
with you,
know,
babe.
truly.
The amount of times I have angrily screenshot someone's
oh, me too.
reel or story to
Yes,
zoom in and see, it makes me so
yes.
mad.
Me. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Same.
Now I screenshot it and then I have to go back, open it up, blow it up to say, oh, that's what that said.
Yeah.
Seriously?
I know, and then you forget to delete the screenshot, and
Yes.
like
And
two
then right,
years
gotta
later, you're
file.
like,
Yeah.
why is this
Why did I
here?
do that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
yeah. So make it big.
So
And another thing that I find, Instagram, gives you parameters to
mhm.
like put your text. And if you go above or over or below, it really messes up like how your reel looks and how you read the text. So when you are putting text on your screen of your reel and you're moving it around trying to find the perfect spot, if you're bumping up against a guideline, stay within it. Like that's
Right.
something I'm
Right.
seeing a lot of people not pay attention to. And it's such an easy way
Hmm.
to make your stuff like way better.
And I've run into that same issue thinking ahead, like, okay, where am I going to put the text on my video? So trying to like maybe turn the angle of my camera just a little bit higher or a different angle so that I capture more of the white space at the top so that I can put the text and stuff at the top. So, when I mean, it's great that while you're trying to film of just capturing the segment of you're trying to capture, but thinking ahead of time of like, oh, where's my text going to go?
Yep.
Giving yourself a little room at the top or bottom to add that stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
When it comes to the caption, I'd love to hear your thoughts on a caption for your reel. And when I say caption, I know we've been talking a lot about text on screen and things like that. So when I say caption, I mean the text that goes below the post, so to say.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts about the captions?
So I'm a punny girl, not funny, not always funny, but I like puns and I like because I think sometimes that's capturing or whatever. But me personally, I don't read any captions. I never read
Hmm.
captions. So but sometimes
Yeah.
I'll just go to Chat GPT, generate some da 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 da, give me 30 captions based on pottery, and then I'll just go back through and pick out the ones I want, throw them in there. So I don't ever read captions unless there's something specifically that I'm looking for within
Yeah,
that.
I'm like a little leading the horse to water, hoping you'll drink out of the pond that I want you to drink
Yes.
out of. And that you've done perfect. So thank you for that, because I want people to know that you cannot place all of the information that you need your audience to have to understand your reel or the content in the caption, because people are not reading them. So
No.
you need
Yeah,
to
don't
get
put
that
your hook down there.
across.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
put
you
your
need
hook or
to
your call to action down there.
totally.
So,
You need to put
Right.
all the information that your customer needs in order to come in or buy something from you or whatever right there in the piece of content that you're making.
Yeah. They're watching the reel. They don't want to also read the
yeah, like I
caption.
don't, it's got to
And
be really something
Right.
specific if I'm going to read the
yeah, and
caption.
it can be hard to read talking about like the small text on the screen.
Yes.
These long captions on top of the reels are
Yeah,
really
like
tough.
no, yes.
Yeah.
And then you hit the more button and then that makes you automatically just hit the like or the share. I'm like, no, that's
Oh,
not, I
my
don't
God,
want to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, and
The
I think
hitting the
that's
more button and getting share is the bane of my existence. I'm like,
Yes,
I'm gonna
I
send people
do.
just random stuff that they no
Yes.
context for.
and this is like so perfect when you're just like think about how you like to use the internet and then
Yes,
do
yes,
that. And I think it will
Yeah,
right.
do
all
that.
become so much more fun, so much more interesting, and you can like really excel if you just think about like, oh, this is how I use it and this is what I like and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
That's my soapbox.
with you.
It
Do
was a good one.
you
Yeah,
post
no,
at
hey,
a
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I mean, I know, right? I know. Luckily, I like to surround myself with people who completely agree with me, so this is a great episode. Do you consider time when you are posting, or do you just post it like when you have it?
I do consider time.
Okay.
And honestly, for my crowd, my sweet spot is like 7 a.m. Like I get the
Mhm.
most or like 8 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly,
How do you figure that out?
I don't know. I just kept doing it at 7 o'clock
Yeah.
and I just would I feel like people get on their phone first thing and they start they scroll through it
Hmm.
like or whatever and then move on for the rest of their day. And evening times that's a different crowd. Like that's more like probably my Facebook people from like 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. or to 9 p.m. because and I even look like when I post things on Facebook, and my registrations for an event, like all of a sudden, ding, 9 o'clock, 9:30, because they're sitting there watching TV saying, oh, we should
Hmm.
do that and make a
Yep.
reservation, that kind of stuff. So that's just the time that works for me. I have no scientific backing of that of why that works for me.
Yeah, and I
Trial
would
and error.
say
It's very important.
it is, and Instagram gives you these insights if you go looking for
Yeah, I
them.
see
But
them.
I would say honestly, like again, think about how you use your internet and think about, your customers and how they're using it. Because I do think Instagram has the information, but it doesn't always feel the most accurate.
Right. It
Hmm.
doesn't to me either.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
with that. Good time.
Do you consider like this is another kind of deep cut question here. So the people that are not real savvy are probably like, what are you talking about? But do you consider like loopability when you are making
yeah,
reels?
sometimes I do.
Hmm.
Especially if it's a short clip and you know what I mean? And sometimes I'll post the same video twice in a row just to keep
Mm.
the song going to get to the part I want.
Yeah.
So I might post two versions of that video just
That's so
so they don't
funny.
even realize it's looping or whatever. But it makes them stay on there just a tad longer. So,
Yeah. Sometimes I will take the like end of the clip or the beginning and I'll kind of split it up a little bit and I'll
mm-hmm,
move one to the end so that way it's more of like a
mm-hmm,
seamless loop. Of
Hmm.
course,
right.
that's like when I'm being the best version of myself, which doesn't always happen. But yeah, it that is kind of the sweet spot. It is so satisfying when something loops perfectly.
Yes,
You're like,
right.
Yes.
I'm a
Yes,
master
that
at
word also fit. Yes,
this.
I'm with you.
Future job in film and
Yes.
TV,
Right. I know.
actually.
I
So
think all the time I'm
Instagram
like,
even has one of those things where they adjust the beat. Have you
yeah.
noticed that in
Oh,
editing?
yeah,
So
I
that's
noticed
kind
that.
of nice. Yes,
Yep.
and so that will kind of help line things up when it doesn't quite get it because you just can't hit the stop at the
Yes.
right time. So
Yes. Yeah, and, and I think we're getting like I think I'm getting us in the weeds a lot about the process and the editing and this and that, and it can feel intimidating, and that's not my goal. But I do want to point out some of my best reels have happened off of just like really quick, very unedited, very unproduced
Yeah.
videos that I like, never thought that I would post. And, so I want people to think about that too. Like the off the cuff stuff can work really well. It just kind of comes down to your timing. It comes down to maybe is the focus there? Does it look good? And does it make sense?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my most popular reel and TikTok of all time is my worst video that I've ever made, and I feel humbled by it all the time. It's just a real quick how to ombre on a tile that I was making, and it's got like 30,000 views on all platforms. People constantly are pulling up the video and watching it, and I'm always like, that's the one I spent the least amount of
Oh,
time on
yeah.
ever, and it has performed the best out of everything. So just like with the captions, something is better than nothing, and most of the time the simpler the better.
Yes. I will say one of my higher performing reels is a story where I consumed a special type of cookie and didn't maybe realize that the strength of the special type of cookie. And I went to sleep and then woke up and thought I was blind, but really just the sheet was over my face. And it has over 1 million views. And it's like, it is
That's
also
so
humbling because
funny.
it's like, I just kind of told that as a one-off. I didn't think that that was going to define me for a year, but
Right, it's who you are. Yeah.
yeah, it can be fun when things pop off like that, but it can also be like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There was my best one is I follow this marketing girl out of the UK,
Hmm.
and she made this song that says, "Oh, I found a reel. It's about here's my first thing I ever made," and it's just a long thing. And I just put all my things that kind of match. Oh, here's what I packaged today, and oh, I made a reel. And anyway, it went
Oh, that's
over
so
over a
cute.
hundred
Yeah, that's
thousand. Yeah,
awesome.
and I
Heck
just
yeah.
showed my face. So it was kind of weird. I just stumbled upon that and said,
Mhm.
"Oh, I think I'll try this," and it took off.
Yeah.
And it
And I
worked.
mean, Jess said
Yeah.
earlier, like trial and error, and
Yeah.
you just got to try it out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy. Obviously, we would all want lots of views and lots of views, but if it was a 3,000 or a 5,000,
Mhm.
that's 3,000 more people than I had, for the 200 one, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm totally fine with that. I'm like, I was telling my husband, I said, well, what would I do if 3,000 people actually showed up? Like, you know what I mean? At my studio,
Right.
I would die. So let's just, if I got 200 people out of it, I got 100 people out of it. If I got 10 new customers out of it, to
Yeah.
me, it was worth my time.
Yeah.
Because he's like over there, I will drive him crazy sitting there, at night or whatever, trying to make a reel and trying to match up the music. And he looks at me like, "Are you like, how many times are you playing that?" I'm like, "Honey, I'm making one." He's like, "Oh, that's what you're doing." He said, "I just thought you kept hitting repeat, like you kept watching the same thing." No.
Must be a good one.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is very relatable. Are you responding to comments from your customers on your reels?
Yes, I do. I try to always, and if I don't catch it, my marketing girl will catch it too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I say all the time, when you're in the, pickup line at the school and you're waving at that mom and she never waves back, you're gonna stop waving at her. So I'm big fan of responding to the
Yeah.
comments when you can because it
It even with the comments though, I feel like I have to like say a whole thing. I don't want to say thank you. Like I want to try to say something more, but I don't want to sound cheesy either. But
yeah,
I really think like, thank you is great, but I'm like, oh, you can't wait to see it when it comes out of
yeah,
the kiln or whatever. Something, I try to add something a little more
yeah.
content to it than
Yeah.
thanks.
How did you get like so open to this? I feel like a lot of people, I'm sorry if I'm calling you out, in our industry are really kind of like not down to learn this new stuff and they feel like whatever, I'm not gonna do it. Like what pushed you to be so open?
I don't know. I told you like last spring, I just said I'm really going to invest myself in it. And if I'm going to be on it and I'm looking at everybody else's stuff, why am I not doing the same thing to be part of it? So I don't know. I like being creative. That's really my fun part. That between that and making displays in my studio, I'm like that's my fun stuff. So I'm
Yeah.
not in the studio per se working so much, but it's the behind the scenes kind of stuff that I
Mhm.
enjoy more.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to topics of reels, I want to try to inspire people as much as possible. Are there topics that you think about when you are making content, educational or fun? You mentioned a few
Yeah,
early on, but what are those topics?
I like behind the scenes kind of stuff. I think that's good. I think maybe our products in action. You know what I mean? Like saying, hey, here's a practical thing about it, but here's like 20 ghosts lined up. So this is really cute. Things that people can envision themselves using, make a connection with that way, whether even if it's a heart plate, like, oh my gosh, I could make that. You know, I could make this little dish for my Grammy to put her teeth in, or
Yeah.
things like that. Things like that people resonate with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
so to me, it's more of a heartfelt connection, like how they can envision themselves using or doing it, seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the
Mhm.
behind the scenes, I've done the technical stuff, and I think people do like that. It's just such a long, drawn out process of or whatever, and I don't paint a lot of my samples anymore. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what they like about it is the satisfaction of like seeing it start to finish.
hmm
And I would think that would get boring if you did it too many times, or it would
yeah,
get less special. So
right.
at least that's what I tell myself,
Right.
why
And
I'm not doing it.
sometimes when I see those great tutorials and things like that, I will share another studio's on my
Yeah.
stories or whatever. Share somebody else's stuff. Give the props to
Hmm.
somebody else and say, look at this awesome studio's doing, whatever. Just pump up somebody else for something. Give them a little bit of extra, give your views to them too. You know what I mean? Things
Yeah.
like that. I think if we all did that, instead of being so honestly, some people get very territorial, which
Hmm.
I understand your property, and I understand your infringements on copyright, things that you have created. That But if you're sharing it
Mm-hmm.
and you're not
Stealing.
recreating, yes, you're not stealing
Yes.
it, yeah, you're just sharing it, you're giving credit to them when you share it. Their name is still on it,
Hmm.
it is not. I'm like, why not? Like, why not help, because it just
That's
helps
the whole point of
everybody.
social media. Like,
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I like to share other people's stuff, tag them in other stuff, things like that. But you know, that's that's me. So not everybody would be so open to sharing other stuff. So
That's true. You mentioned repurposing content earlier, which is something we should all be doing. But are you batch making your reels?
I do that, and I schedule them
Hmm.
out like,
Oh, teach me
yeah.
your
So
ways, Wendy. How do you do
Right.
this?
that's how I have to do it. If I could get it all done in one day, because I might not be in the studio the rest of the week or whatever, and then I already have that content somewhere, and I can just kind of put things together. And honestly, it might take me 2 days, or it might take me a week to get back to them
Yeah.
or whatever. But I try to schedule things out. At least I try to have 2 to 3 reels out
Hmm.
on my calendar, out scheduled out or whatever. And that scheduling tool on Instagram, heck, yeah, I mean, use that. That is, don't feel like you have to post everything right then.
Tell us about
Hmm.
that. Are you talking about when you go to post something and then you can schedule it later?
Yes, schedule it later. Yeah. And I mean, I know some people will use a third party to schedule their content or whatever, and that if that works great, use it. But I just use it right in Instagram because I feel like Instagram likes Instagram.
They
So,
do.
Yeah, it does.
um,
Yeah, and I will say, like, even Facebook Business Suite or whatever, it is so confusing. And I, like, as a
Yeah.
person who's been on
on
the
the
internet for
calendar and
quite
drop
some
down.
time,
Yes.
yeah, I get really overwhelmed by it. So I just recently started using the scheduling app or scheduling within Instagram for my Instagram
Yeah, I
client.
do
And
too.
it's really, you're right, it is very handy. Make it
Yes.
so
So
easy.
yeah, I mean it does. And I mean you can go days out. So I know that like I'm gonna be on vacation, or I know St. Patrick's Day is gonna be this day or whatever, and I want to have something, I already have content for it.
Yeah.
So, scheduling ahead, and
Yeah.
it just makes it life much easier. And
Yeah.
then true,
Heck
when
yeah.
then you can see it when you click on your scheduled content, you can see your list of what things are doing, and then you're like, oh, that date doesn't really match, or that date, if that's a Saturday and a Sunday, I don't want to post both those days, schedule them down. So
It also keeps momentum going. Like, how fun is it to
yes,
see all this
Yeah.
stuff that you're like,
yes,
yeah, I did
yeah,
that.
get it, get
Uh,
it, get it.
that's really cool. I'm feeling really inspired, Wendy.
Oh,
Um,
that's good. I hope.
what if someone really wants to get started in Reels? They're not posting many right now. They're feeling kind of intimidated. Where and how would you tell them to start?
I would say just start with little things, 3, 5 second videos of or 10 seconds max of what's going on in your studio. A pan of your studio full of people because you've got all these summer people here. Someone comes in to do a handprint, get a little video of them doing a handprint, just the inaction kind of things. Anything behind the scenes, I had a kiln top and I had, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70 cats and dogs or whatever. And my caption was about to get our shine on and they were all glazed.
Cute.
So, things like, I only walked in and found them because my employee ran out of space and stacked them on top of the kiln, waiting for the other kiln to cool. So I'm like, oh, that's a perfect, we didn't plan it. I'm like, oh, let me make a little, and I just kind of did a 360 around the kiln with my phone. So, just start little bitty steps and then you start building a momentum. Your followers start expecting to kind of see something that's going to come, whatever. And I mean, honestly, for holidays, they want to know, oh, what are you going to do for Christmas? What is, where's the gingerbread people? Or, all those kind of things they're looking for, when's the vintage trees come out, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So
and that's, we get so close to our work and we get so close to things in the studio that it all gets very normal to us. Not every customer of ours knows every 500 piece of item you have on the shelf. So when you are unboxing a new shipment, yeah, that might be a lantern that you've carried for 4 years, but there's someone following you that has never seen it before.
Right.
So you show them that. And I think if we kind of zoom out just a little bit and start to see our studio and our work through other people's eyes, then the content just writes itself, dipping stuff, loading the kiln, unloading the kiln, like it's all right there.
Show your customer pieces. My customers like that when they think they see their
Yes.
piece on there or whatever. And there are some very talented customers. So showing off, what they've done. I'm like, yeah, if you don't have a lot of samples and or you don't have time to do your own samples, just do 5 quick videos of things that just came out of the kiln.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
and like a pro tip on that, I do the count unloads, but sometimes I'll take the best pieces and kind of put them in so I can pull them out
Sure,
without
right,
anyone knowing.
right. You open the door and you open the lid and there's I'm like, oh my gosh, look at all those. That's fantastic.
These amazing pieces. It's crazy.
I'm also a big fan of sprinkling in just okay pieces because you have the people that can recreate the good stuff, but you need the this is approachable. That's I promise. Yeah. Nice. Well, Wendy, I think, you've got us all inspired to make a reel and hopefully I think this episode comes out a little bit later and after convention, if I'm maybe not mistaken.
Okay.
But I would love to challenge everybody to make a reel and tag us so that we can see it because
that would be great. Absolutely.
It's just going to keep momentum going.
Yes. Well, it's inspired me to get back into my groove. So I'm gonna be working on it.
May we all post a reel today. How's
there
that?
We go.
Yes.
Perfect.
It's a little late in the day. Maybe tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
In the next 24 hours, post a reel.
But I mean, if you just did one, because honestly, it's one of those things that you do one, you get a little bit or do 2, do 3, and you get a little bit of success. And then you're like, oh, that might motivate me. And then all of a sudden you're like, if I did this, I could probably get to this. And so that was a lot of my thing. Once I started doing it and then I started seeing a return on it, and that was a huge motivator. And honestly, I mean, I feel like not my local customers maybe see it all, but in the big industry overall that I think, it just builds momentum for all of us.
Yeah.
When we start, start getting it out there. So there's a whole big ceramic movement out there.
It's true.
Rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's just getting stronger, I feel. We're just getting cooler and people are it's every time I log on to Instagram, someone that's not in the industry is painting pottery and I'm like, nice. We'll be here forever. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keeping a job.
Yes, right.
Thanks for listening. Des Toll here from Biscuit Imports. We're proud to support the CCSA podcast and even prouder to support the amazing folks like you. Keep creating, keep growing, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Are you ready to stay ahead of the curve in the fine arts industry? Look no further than CCSA Today, our quarterly magazine packed with business insights, industry trends, and operational tips tailored specifically for fine arts studio owners like you. Whether you prefer the printed or digital version, each issue of CCSA Today is full of valuable content to help you run a more efficient, profitable, and creative studio. You'll find everything from the latest business strategies to inspiring seasonal designs that keep your customers coming back for more. Don't miss out on this must-have resource. Become a member of the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association and get CCSA Today delivered right to your mailbox or inbox. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.
Well, Wendy, any kind of parting words before we get out of here?
No, I just wish everyone luck and tag us. So just like you said, and if I can be of any help, just reach out to me. I will tell you everything I know.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
you're so
open book.
kind. We appreciate you so much, Wendy,
Oh,
coming
you're
here
welcome.
and telling
Thanks,
us all your
Wendy.
secrets.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
you've really got me like really considering your method of saving and planning.
Oh my,
Mhm.
it was a game changer because
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't, just planning things and you see so much, it gets overwhelming. And then you try to make a note and then you lose the piece of paper or whatever. Put it right in there and then you can just run back to it whenever you get a chance. I won't tell you how many drafts I have, but I have drafts.
actually
But
really
sometimes when I'm looking for content though, and I'm like, oh, I got to post something. Let me go back through my drafts and see what I have.
uh-huh.
So I'm like, oh, that was a really good idea. And I could make that work with what I have. So
Yeah, that's smart. Maybe we'll do on the post when I share this episode, people can comment how many drafts they think that you have.
Yeah,
We'll turn
there
it
you
into a
go.
little game.
It's a fun game,
There you go. So
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Wendy.
Oh,
We
you're
really
welcome.
appreciate you.
you're welcome.
Glazed Over is brought to you by the CCSA, the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association. Thank you to our moderators, Amy Williams and Jessica Cowan. Editing by Scott Lester. Executive production by Vicki DeWert. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.